Record. Sad. Josh, lad. How are we?
I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'm good. I'm feeling a little tired, but I'm really good.
Why are you feeling tired?
Because I had a hell of a night out last night. My mate visited me from Stoke, my best mate, so just been catching up. And I just took him around the place. Last time I took him to the docks and that, but we didn't go this time, so we just went Roxy's, played some beer pong, table tennis.
Is this the lad I met in the pub? When
No, that's Christy. That's a lad for another occasion. Yeah, you know, and you have friends for different things and that. But no, he was at my dad's wedding. You might have seen it on my Insta. He's the Italian-looking one. He looks like Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah.
As like just Sacha Baron Cohen or one of his
Sacha
characters?
Baron Cohen with a beard, because he was bald like me, and then his family were like, just get hair again.
Have you ever seen that? What's it? Is it This Is America, Derek? The Sacha Baron Cohen thing,
yes.
where he does like different characters. Yeah. I don't know why like that popped in my head, but that's one of my favourite things I've ever
when
watched.
he has the inflatable balloon animals for guns for kids, doesn't he? And they're like, oh my God, of course.
Yeah, oh my God, it's absolutely mental. It's one of the maddest shows.
So as bad as your life gets, just think you're not the guy that's made balloon animals for guns for kids.
Yeah. I fully agree with that, because there was one where, didn't they have like a senator on?
Yeah.
And the senator was like really in deep shit or something, because the way that it went. Yeah.
And I think that's in Is It Borat 2 when he gets that nice bit of stuff, and she's like his daughter in the film, and she like coaxes that senator back or whatever to be like telling the secrets or whatever, and he's like, yeah, of course, do you want to go to the bedroom now? And he goes in there and he's about to do it, and then he's just like, she's like, yeah, you've been filmed, and it all comes out, and he was about to cheat on his wife, and obviously it was all filmed and he didn't know.
That was in the hotel room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was one of the maddest scenes ever. Because do you know in that as well, I don't know if you know it, but do you know when he's at like, is it like the music thing on the field?
Yeah.
And like all the people are trying to get into the trailer at him. Like they're actually trying to batter him. And obviously each got actually trying hard and like stay away basically from them, because if they don't, then they're all going to get in there and just film him in.
And this is why, when I said to you before, where if you could have any 10 people, celebrities at you're hosting your own party, any 10 people alive or dead, who would you have? I would have Sacha Baron Cohen as one for sure, because I just think he's so interesting. Yeah. And then when my mate is there, you're not going to be able to tell him apart. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be like a Guess Who. But also I just think the balls he has on him to go about and do this kind of comedy where it's what you call in acting the world like invisible theatre, where they have no idea what's going on, but you go and do it. So when I was in uni, we did I did acting in uni, and we were tasked with invisible theatre. So at the time, my ex at the time, we'd have to go to the library and just start making out and make people feel uncomfortable, but no one was to know this was a scripted theatre scene. And then you get the takeaways. And then we did another one where we had this girl, her name was Chloe, and she spoke about 3 different languages. So I was on my laptop typing, could do my coursework studying, and then she was opposite me in the library in the quiet area, and then she gets a phone call, and then she just starts yelling in her native tongue, and everyone around us like, what's going on? And obviously I'm in on it, so I do know, so then I just antagonise her, and then you just see it all go, and then you've got like the librarian, what's going on and all this stuff. So it was awesome. And then we did one where it was in the hall, and he went up to, and she's like, yeah, babe, I'm pregnant. And he's like, well, you can get fucking rid of it right now. What are you doing? And all that, and you just hear people around like that, and he leaves, and she just starts sobbing. And then you got all the people there. Oh yeah, it was so much fun.
Is it hard to do though with stuff like that? Because like that takes balls stuff.
I didn't find it hard.
Didn't you?
No.
That takes balls to do that.
No, because I just think like it's just, you know, what Shakespeare said, where we're all actors, you know, the world is our stage, we're all players in it, kind of thing. So when you just look at it like that, it's fine. It's more of a perspective, really. Yeah, like when you've performed in front of a lot of people, like the most I ever performed in front of was about 600.
Fuck off.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
I did my own like monologue, wrote it myself, and did it, and it was all about like mind parasites, and this like because I love horror, so I was like, how can I do this, and how can I bring it uniquely to the theatre and stuff. So I did all that, and we were tasked with, you've got to write your own monologue. It's got to be a minimum of 15 minutes long, and you've got 6 weeks, and you're performing it.
Yeah.
And I did it, and it was awesome. One of the best things I've ever done. It's really scary though, because like at the time I was with my ex, and we went to America for her eldest sister's wedding, and it was Halloween Horror Nights, of course, you know, all the Orlando things. And then you've got people as the Purge mask, like coming up to her and stuff, and being like, "Whoa!" And she was like, shit scared. She's like, leave me alone. So I've got to be the old, leave her alone, lad. We're actors too. Well, she should stay away then. I'm like, just leave us alone. So I was playing, you know, that wasn't fun. But then when we come back, we had to perform straight away. So literally it was like the night before the wedding, and we were in this American room, and the house room was massive. And then we've got our bedroom, the bathroom, and a closet. So I'm in the closet rehearsing my lines, because when I go back, I've got to perform. So, and yeah, it was awesome. I absolutely loved it. But I always find with that, like, when I was acting, people would look up to me as like a leader a bit because of my confidence and stuff. And I said, well, the only thing I can give to you is like, you know, they always say, oh, you know, pretend it's like in the rehearsal room. But I just say, look, it's confidence in preparation. If you know exactly what you need to say in that, and then you work for that ease, that's the same in football, it's the same in anything. The more you do it, the more reps you got. So when you perform, it looks effortless. It literally looks like you're waiting for a bus, but you're performing about, you know, having something, it could be really difficult, whatever the scene may be, you know, like your Homelander bits or whatever. I know you like The Boys. So. But yeah, I just think work your nuts off for that. Like when I did, when I was doing that like all the time, I'd sometimes be rehearsing to like 11 o'clock at night. That's an average night, but sometimes 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, just in my dad's shed, just going through it and going through it and going through it. And that was it was why it was so difficult this year, because, you know, Bray Wyatt, that Wyndham Rotunda.
No, what is it?
WWE wrestler. He passed away a few weeks ago.
I always saw that on your story. Yeah. I don't know much about wrestling anymore, like the wrestlers, but I did see someone passed away on your story.
So my mate that you seen, when he come up, so me and him met during that time at college when we were doing acting, and he was a huge inspiration for both of us because he was dark and unbelievably creative. So in wrestling, they do a thing called cutting a promo, where you'll say like, oh, you'll build a storyline about it, and he went through all this kind of like dark, interesting stuff, and I was just attached. I was like, wow, this is awesome. So then I'd put that on my own twist on things and stuff, and I would be rehearsing till 2, 3 a.m, just loving it. And then I'd college the next day, and then I'd just be going and going and going and going. And because I put that work ethic in myself, I just had the confidence to do it. Because about 6 months prior, well, no, it wasn't 6 months. It was a year and 6 months prior. My mum left. Yeah. And then I went through this huge anxiety and depression spiral. I didn't realise it at the time, but like I was drinking a bottle of rum a day.
A bottle
a day.
Jesus Christ, lad.
Yeah. Just in the shed by myself, not wanting to speak to anyone. And and I couldn't get out of it at the time. I couldn't let it out, and I couldn't find meaning. And then I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna go for the acting again, because I did it a bit in school and I really enjoyed that. And I went down that route and never looked back, really, and that helped. And it's odd, isn't it? Because I had anxiety attacks, but I didn't know what they were.
Yeah, I remember I had my first one and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
I just never went right.
It's vile, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you feel like you're going to have a heart attack or something.
Yeah, you feel like I'm about to die right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm going to die, and then it just stops and you go, carry on with my day.
But then on stage, I'm comfortable in performing in front of that amount of people. How does that work? And I was just like...
Do you reckon that's then because... So you're drinking a bottle a day, because obviously the situation that happened, but... And I might be completely wrong with this, but this is probably the way that I would think about it. When you go to act and you play someone else, so you're not going to be you anymore in that world, so then you're going to then change and become a different character. So then that's going to make you feel normal again, or not feel the pain that you're going through. Maybe them anxieties, them panic attacks, the depression goes away because you're not focused on your life. You're focused on this character.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So I think there was a famous French dramatist called Antonin Artaud, and he created the theatre of cruelty, and it was basically theatre to blow people's minds away where nothing makes sense. Things are thrown just to be reactive, and it was cruel for the audience. So think of 4D, but in like the 1900s, and you're doing theatre, and it's just really disturbing stuff. And he would always say, actors are athletes of the heart. So when you're doing all these characters, yeah, you're playing someone else, but it's like therapy in a way, because I've got a scene now where I've got to tell you that this has happened, that's happened, whatever, and you're confronting really unusual scenarios, and you're using your imagination. And because of all that, I think it's like you're just getting things off your chest, and and it's like that. It's a bit like where we work, like when you're working with such complex people. When I have kids someday, I'm going to be a great dad, because I've already dealt with all of this, and for me, it makes me want kids more, because I thought, I really want to help nurture and help those people. So I think it's the way you combat those emotions, and it's because it's so like vulnerable. You're doing it. It's not film. You're doing it in front of a lot of people. Where if you just have a nervous fart, you've got to go with it. Like I would always say, guys, if you laugh, use the laughter. And then I learnt that more when I was at uni. Like, whatever, it was this thing called active analysis, where me and you have got a script now. Think of your favourite Homelander scene, yeah?
Yeah.
And we're going to look at the script for 2 minutes, and then we're going to put the script down, and we're going to perform it right now. But you don't know the words yet, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is we're going to find the essence of what it's saying and why we're doing that. And we're just going to keep repeating that. But to start off with, we're not going to use words. We'll use actions. Then we're going to use gibberish. And then we'll use words of our own. So by the time you've done all of that and got all of that out there, and you've understood the essence of what it is, when you eventually do go back to the words, it's a piece of piss. Because acting is not about words. It's about the physicality, the connection with people and stuff. So when you view it like that, it all just comes together. I'm not sure where I was going with that. But yeah, it's really interesting. We did it, and we would pick things apart, and then you would analyse the performance and say, I wanted to slap you in the face then. Why? What made me want to slap you in the face? Maybe it was because of this and that and that. So I did this one show, it's called The Storm. It was a Russian play. And I was a bastard. Like, my character, my God, his name was Decoy, and it was like in an old Russian village. And I basically was in charge of the town. Yeah. And we did it like a promenade. So imagine that, like, this is the main stage here, but then, like, I would be sitting here, and then there's someone else sitting here, and then there's someone up here, but the main stage is there, but you can see the world of the play going on around it. So when I leave the stage, I'm still on stage, but I'm on a side of the stage that you can't see. So I would have my own desk, and I'd be making up notes and doing tax things on why people in my village can't get the money. And then I'd just be drinking until I've got nothing left. So obviously it wouldn't be real vodka, unfortunately. It was just bottles of water, but it'd be like 2 litre bottles. So I was on for the first scene, and then I'm on in about another half an hour's time. So I'd go through 2 bottles of water in half an hour. So by the time I got on, I felt drunk and all of that, and I could use it. And as an actor, it was just such a privilege, because you were constantly in that character. So you were never like, oh, I've just done that scene, I'm now Louis, and I'm on my phone and I'm messaging, yeah, I'll pick it up later. No, you're always in that mindset. So I just found it like so much fun, like a kid in a candy shop where you're just going through and you're like, wow, this is awesome. And then my first scene, right, was saying about active analysis, what you feel. So when we were going through it, it said in the stage directions, Decoy spits. Yeah. Okay. So I was talking to my cousin, my nephew. And his parents were behind him, okay? His family, everyone. And I go in and we have an argument, and then I spit. So I was like, okay, but what do I feel? So whatever I feel, I green light. That's the whole point of it. So if I feel like I want to get up now and leave, my body's telling me that for a reason. So green light it and see where that goes. Use the improvisation. So I spat in his face. Yeah. And
was he expecting the spit in the face? Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, like, his parents were behind him, and he was just covered in spit, and they're like, ah. It's fucking awesome. Oh my God. It's so much fun when you just have that privilege to do that. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. And then afterwards, it was all cool. It's just part of the rehearsal, you know?
Is that because these are always all cool because you've just got to go with the flow because you're on stage and whatever happens, it might just happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that was the whole point of the experiment of that's how we're going through with it. We're rehearsing this way. So it's like each football coach has their own tactics. That is a tactic of rehearsals that I believe really strongly in. Whereas as opposed to, I'm going to learn the lines and I'm going to speak to you like this, but you're not connecting. So I would look at the line and then I'd connect and then I'd say the line to you. And then we'd go through it slowly and then we'd pick it up on its feet and stuff. And yeah.
Would you say there's then like, in a sense, maybe like a tier list or like a way to go about acting? So maybe your lines are the third thing that you need to know.
The lines are the last thing.
The next one is, I don't even know what to say. So it could be like the connection of the show and stuff like that, and then finding the emotion, and then you find the words.
The text is the Bible.
Yeah.
In the play, in the whatever you're doing, whether it's a radio show, the text is the Bible. Ultimately, that has power. That is what you've got to do at the end of the day. Your character must say that, but how you get to it is your own choice. And there's a load of different methods of doing it. So that's just one that I like to implement, and I use that when. So like I used to teach a little bit. I taught for a week in Switzerland, like acting games and stuff, and I'd teach that method, especially for Shakespeare, because no one likes those words anyway. But if you kind of get to the idea of what is he doing, oh, he's saying that you're an absolute arse right now because of this and this, and then why is he? The kids can just understand it more. And, you know, I think they should do that more within the curriculum.
Because do you think then that with acting, because it really stood out to me before, what you were saying about, like, working with kids and stuff like that, and then the way that's made you, do you reckon acting has also made you a certain way in your personality, and, like, it's made you the man that you are today?
Yeah. Ultimately, it all stems from my dad, because when I was young, my dad was always big into films, like, in the 80s, when he saved up all his money and he bought his own VHS, and he would have videos on the wall, and he could literally tell you, say you wanted to watch The Fly or Raiders of the Lost Ark, he could say, yeah, it's on the third shelf there, number 24, the third shelf, number 24, and he would just know all that, and he had such a passion. So then, when I was young, I would watch films in the weekend, and he'd make me do film reviews of what I'm watching. So he'd be like, that was my homework, so I'd just have to review it and stuff. And at the time I was like, no, I just want to watch. And he was like, no, you watch it and stuff. And it really helped. So then when I grew up, I thought, I want to be a film director, I really want to do it. And then when my mum left, I went to college, I thought, I'm going to do media and all that, and I absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
And that was when I was drinking, I was smoking weed every day, I was doing all sorts of stuff, mixing together. I just didn't want to feel. You know, it's a really dark place to be in, but I'm so grateful for it, all of it, because I think the darkest moments you learn who you really are, you know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, I've spoken to the last lad that was on, Tom, and we had a conversation about it and that. But when you are in, it's basically when you got your back against the wall, it's like the best way to try and put a visual image that you only have to go forward. It's the only way.
Yeah.
So you have to find out who you are, why you're there, and how you're going to go back in the direction that you want to go into.
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, going back to what you said, about like the drinking, and then you started smoking and everything that happened. When was your turning point? What was your point where you realised this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and that's how I'm going to get to there?
It was like, it wasn't one thing. I had a moment where I was like, oh yeah, daddy's arrived, you know what I mean? But then, like, I had, like, the martial arts and the acting, they were always like this with each other. It was like balancing the weights. So for the longest time I thought, I'm just going to be a fighter. That's all I'm going to do. And then I was like, but I really, really like acting. What can I do? Can I do a bit of stage combat? So I did a bit of stage combat for a bit where we, like, fought with swords, learned gun disarms and all that, and that was really fun. But I was more into theatre, not necessarily film, because I just love the purity of it, where everyone's there and they're stuck in that room with you. So then you can feel that connection. There is just such a palpable thing about it, where you could watch a film, but like, we've all been there where you know, you're young and you're seeing what it's like with girls and all of that stuff, and you think, right, what film am I going to put on not to watch? Just so you can, you know, get your end away. And that's what films can be used for, whereas you can't do that in the theatre. The theatre is you're stuck in there, and therefore everything, if it's executed right, has a lot more power. Like, I remember the first time that I seen nudity on in a play, and I was like, wow, I didn't know where to look. And I was like, that had substance. It wasn't gratuitous. It wasn't like an 18 rated film and they've just thrown a pair of boobs in just so people watch, or it's for boys, and that's not very good. That's gratuitous. But then if you put real substance into the plot and all of that, you can come up with an excellent story. That bit of nudity could be about body dysmorphia. It could be about anything. And when you link it together, like The Boys is a really good aspect of this, when it shows, and Gen V, you know, when she can shrink down, and she's like that. But it's showing her character and how she's subjected. Yeah. It's not just, oh, here's a big dick for the... No. It's not, you know what I mean? So I think that really drove my passion with writing and all that stuff. And it's just a whole journey. And I've got a lot of facets to my personality, which I sometimes think is really difficult because I haven't got a clear path. I've got like 6 options, which I could make careers on all of them. But I just don't know how. I know the why and that, but I just can't find the how. So I'm a bit like, I just don't know, you know? Because like on one hand, I'd love to be a martial arts trainer. On the other one, I'd love to be a playwright or a script writer. And then on the other hand, I'd love to be teaching. And then I'd love to be a film director. It's a lot of... Like,
that is a lot to try and juggle.
Yeah, so then like when I've got time off, I'll just write my own plays, write my own stories, and that's a good bit of escapism for me. And it's like, I honestly don't care if no one ever sees them, because like if I die, and when I die, and when I have kids, at least they can read my stories and that. I mean, you know, a little bit of something, but I do it for me. I don't do it for anyone else. So I think that's the purest bit of art form that you can get there, you know. I'm not doing it to make it a quick little buck off. Yeah. You know.
Because I feel like if you went down like the directing or the acting part, that'll leave like more of a legacy for you. But I feel like if you went down the fighting one, that'll be a bit more for you. But the acting one seems to be more of the way inside, where you can get a bit of both from that.
If I learn how to ride a horse, all of a sudden I can be an extra on these shows, and then I can get my foot in the door to then... Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because would you find it harder to become in the fighting world, like to become something in there, or would you find it hard to become something in the acting world?
I'd probably say fighting.
Fighting?
Yeah.
Is that because you've got to bring in your age?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not old. You're only like 2 years older than me, so we're not old. Thank God. Yeah. But then we was talking to a lad, not last episode, the episode before, Charlie, and he's just done Lipper, and he was saying, like, obviously it can be quite hard to try and get basically scouted to be an actor. But do you still think that the fighting part is definitely harder?
I think it really depends on how you approach it, but I think you've got to brand yourself. Yeah. You know, you look at me, and for people that are watching this for the first time, and who's this bald ginger fella? You know, you could think, oh, he's going to be a proper, like that. So they're going to judge you outright. But then if I wear a flowery dress, you're going to judge me differently. So it's how you brand yourself. If you want to become a really good fighter, well, if you do a very specific style, if you come up with a catchphrase, if you come up with... I mean, look at WWE, that's a blueprint for it. There's a reason Sean O'Malley looks the way he does, because he's got all this curly hair and that, and he's got all these tattoos. And then if you have, every time you finish the match... I mean, Tyson Fury, didn't he? He would sing a song when he'd win. So all of a sudden... you want to watch it because you want to see him sing that song. And then with McGregor, you want to watch him because he's going to do the Billy Strut. Yeah. So if you bring things and you can brand yourself that way, you will get your foot in the door. But the key is to use your essence. We're all like inspired from lots of different things. But if you try and rip off anyone, they can see it coming. But if you're just uniquely you, then you can get there. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think you've got like a uniquely you? Yeah. Or a uniquely thing?
Yeah. And I believe that others would say that about me, who know me well. But I know who I am. I know who I am, and I'm comfortable who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. And it's a shame more of us aren't.
So who would you say you are?
That's not a soundbite. There's not a little... I'm an amalgamation of a lot of things.
What's amalgamation? Is that just a lot of things that you just said?
Yeah, a lot of things just combined. You know, I'm a different person with you than when I'm by myself, than when I'm with my dad, than when I'm that. We all have those sides, but because I've just listed the things that interest me and my passions. I can put those hats on, and I can do that. But I just love people and I love socialising, and I think it's a shame that we don't do that more.
Yeah.
I believe today's world we're breeding more and more incels. Like you look at media, right? If I want to date, when I was in the early 2000s, like if I was to say I'm on an online dating thing, people would look at me like I smell of blue cheese and I've just come out the bath. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And now it's the normal.
Yeah, so it's like your Tinders and your Hinges and the Bumbles. I'm saying that because I've been on them before, so I know them all judge me for it. But I do agree with that as well. But do you think that, how can I say it? The way that the world's going at the minute, it's becoming more and more complicated to just go with the flow and just go with things. I feel like we've got to tiptoe around things a bit more. When it comes to dating, because I've noticed a lot of my mates now that are single are now finding it hard to date, and a lot of women are now starting to find it harder to date. Do you reckon there's like maybe even like a crisis?
If you generalise, okay? Everyone wants your money. Everyone wants you to like buy things and spend your money on. So if I put you in a dating app, I'm trying to market you as a person, as a product, and we're not. We're people. We are really different. And what I mean by it's breeding incels, like, well, most people aren't going to go out and have sex if you're a male because it's not the way the world works.
Yeah.
And then if you're all the time on a dating app and you're just swiping right, swiping left, you're becoming a robot. Like, you're spending more time by yourself in your room going through, I wonder if they like me. Get some trousers on, get a shirt on, a nice shirt where you look well, and just go to the pub.
Yeah.
Or just go and have a walk, or go to your local gym and just speak to people, man. Like, I just feel like so many people are afraid to go and say, "You're looking gorgeous, darling. How you doing today?" Or, like, what's wrong with a compliment? And I just feel like people are so scared about that, you know? Like, I know a couple people that are just really, really close to me, but they're absolutely terrified of rejection.
Yeah, rejection's like a massive thing, by the way. I've asked me dad. To no, keep it rolling. It's fine because we can just edit it. I've asked me.
If you don't swipe right on me and I swipe right on you, you're not gonna get someone saying, "Oh, look at you, you ugly little snail. Look at you need to sort your life out."
Yeah.
Where like, so it's not a real rejection. Where if you go to someone in the street and they're not interested, big deal, right? My big thing is I don't need anyone, a woman in my life, right, to know who I am. I'm not going to compromise with them, and I've learnt this from me past to previous relationships, but I feel like everyone is looking for someone to complete them.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
So, like, therefore, if you go and speak to them and they say no, who cares?
Yeah.
Go and speak to someone else and they're not the right one for you. Big loss for you. I was seeing a girl a few months ago. She was gorgeous, literally the figure 8. Big old jubblies, big bum, everything. Tattoos, all of that, everything that I like, and it was going well. And then I just thought, oh, there's a few red flags here, and then you know, being difficult with the messaging, and then she ghosted me, and I was like, oh, now I could sit here and cry about it and feel sorry for myself, or I could just move on and find someone else and have fun because I don't need her. End of, you know. And that's it. And I just feel like because of these dating apps, everyone's scared to go and speak to people. So you go on a night out and you're like, oh, go chat to her, mate. Oh, I need another 7 drinks first. I need the Dutch courage. And what am I going to say? How about, you're looking gorgeous, how are you doing? Or, you're looking lovely today, hope you're all well, move past. Everyone needs a compliment, man. You know, you don't even have to compliment, just go and say hey, you know. But, like, I've noticed even at work, if someone just says, oh, I really like your shirt, sir. Yeah. Thanks, that makes me feel good. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you're trying to get in my pants, it's nice, just be a nice person, you know.
Well, obviously the thing with all of the swiping left, swiping right has obviously come from phones, because it's so much easier to do that and so much easier to be able to get a date or start on to someone, try and find a connection with someone that way. But do you feel like it's only going to get worse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? that people aren't going to be able to go over to someone, talk to someone, go on a night out and go over to chat to someone because their friend might get in the way, or their friend might come over and say
this.
Y and Z.
You can't say that. You go, why? And then men are forgetting how to be real men.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the crisis of masculinity is because, like, first of all, you got all this laundry list of words that you can't say, and you've got to be politically correct and all that rubbish, yeah? Second of all, you can't be all boisterous and like that. But then, why? Who is that offending? And because women are running this world now, they don't need us, men, I'm telling you. Like, if you look at the history of human beings, right, men for the longest time were in charge, okay? And they would treat women not very nice, shall we put it, okay? In the 1600s, when the witch trials were going on and stuff, I could be with my wife and then I could find, I don't know, Deborah from across the street and I'm going to go and boink her, and then I could just say she bewitched me and she'd be burnt at the stake. Yeah. That's not right, and that's messed up. Now, if you look at all the human history, all the way up until the pill, that's where it went sideways. Because men for the longest time could go in and you know, you're not going to get attached because you don't harbour a fetus, but women do. But now they don't. So they can be like men. They've already got all this sexual selection. They've got men on tap, right? You could drop a penny in the street and next thing you know, a guy's like, That's how men are, aren't they? Not all of us, but I'm ashamed of some of us, shall we say. But yeah, so now all of the jobs are gender neutral, barring a few, select few, which are, that's a masculine job, that. But they're all gender neutral. They're all wearing suits and stuff, And then now they're on the pill so they can have sex with whoever they like, and they've already got a big, massive thing like this. They're on more money than us. So why do you need a man? When you literally can, you know, go to work, be a really good job, and then you can go home and sell your underwear online for a couple £100, and then you can get an OnlyFans account and make bank while you work in Tesco.
OnlyFans is the maddest thing in the world.
Mate, and that's what I'm saying. And men don't have that option.
Yeah, I know, like, some men do go onto OnlyFans. I know that, and they can go on there and they can make an absolute fortune off it. But like, it's, you don't, when you think of OnlyFans, I know, like, we're all men sitting in here, but we don't think of lads when we think of OnlyFans. Obviously, we'll think of a woman. But how can I say it? Because I've kind of had a brain fart on that part. I'm so bad for it. That's what my therapist said. I have brain farts.
Don't we all?
We really do. But I really don't know how to say it.
I was going to say, like, do you think it's getting...
Is your mic on, by the way?
It is not.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, do you think it's obviously getting harder for men and easier for women? Like, the market's just getting too easy for the women. And obviously with social media, it kind of widens that gap of how men and women can be together. It's creating a wedge.
It
rather
is.
than bringing people together, it's actually distancing people. People don't know how to interact one-to-one or have them common sociable skills, because it's all done online.
Our parents back in the day, if you meet a lovely, nice young gentleman or a lovely, nice young girl, whichever way you're inclined, and you speak to them and you're interested, and this could be a friendship or something romantic, it would all be face-to-face or over the telephone on a call. Now, you've got all this ghosting, this emoji, this catfishing. So that's already a huge barrier on top of that. And then, you, like I've just listed with all the... Like, women are the omega sex right now. They have everything that any gender could have. If they... I'm not all of them, but the top ones, they've got everything.
What is the omega sex? I've heard of it before, but I've never actually looked it up.
It's like OP. It's like everything's overpowered. Like, okay, I could be a really rich and successful male. Say I'm Jason Momoa, right? Now, he might have women on tap because of his richness and all of that stuff. Great, but there's not many of him, but a woman... She can produce a child.
Welcome back.
If she wants to... I don't have 8 and 9 months off for maternity leave. Now, I know that's really hard for the woman, and it is, and it's very necessary, but that's still something that men don't have, you know? So they've got that. They can have kids. They can have higher paying jobs than men, can have sex with whoever they want, and they can make money by selling a bit of the body if they want. They don't have to, but they can also do it through loads of things. And I walk to work and I see female-only gyms. The fuck's all that about? I want to go to the gym near where I work. Just because you have a vagina doesn't mean that you should just be in that gym.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to come up and, like, steal your blooming laundry or something. Like, I don't understand why there's this female-only gym, because the reality is 9 out of 10 men in the gym are not going to be dicks and make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah. I've been to those gyms where they have approach and it's a bit... But it's not happening all the time. So I just think that's another divide that you don't even need. Why are you putting that divide there? You know, just baffles me. I get you want to make your own business, but... Don't just have, okay, so I know of a lot of these women who have had a baby and they're just recovering from it and they're trying to get fit again. All the props to you, well done. But you don't need a full gym for that. If you want to make yourself a PT and you specialise in that, wonderful. But you don't need a full gym where you get rid of all men. You know? Yeah,
so I don't want to make you sound like a dick here, but this is just what I'm going to hit you with. Okay, so... If you had a female-only gym, and I go, only, of course, females can only come in here because this is going to be our safe space to work. But in work, as in our work, we do a men's talk. So originally that was started by an ex-member of staff.
Yeah.
That was, I just want to do this about men because we need more of a safe space.
Absolutely.
The two not correlate then, in that sense?
Well, my thing is, you look at the male suicide rates, they're higher than ever. And... traditionally there's a stigma that men can't talk about that stuff. If a woman wanted to have a chat with me about that, I'd more than welcome that. But I like that men have that safe space. If you want to make a general one, cool, just do it on a different day or in a different room. But no, I don't think that correlates in that sense. I know you're playing the devil's, whatever it's called. What is it called? A devil's advocate.
That's twice that's been said today in there.
But yeah.
Because like... where you're saying that obviously about men's suicide rates, and the way I see the world in black and white is men have got it hard in one way, women have got it hard in their own way, and we're always going to be going back and forth. Oh, but we're a man, we struggle with this. We're a woman, we've got this, and that's the way time's always been. I feel like it's always going to be like that. That's just the way we're built. But where you're saying about that's where we go for our safe space to talk about it. Sorry if this sounds like the same question, but I'll try and word it differently. But obviously we'll go there because we will talk about our life and we feel like we need to talk to someone. What if a woman can't go into a gym because she needs to go to a female-only gym to get comfortable in her own body? And something like that, she needs that safe space to be able to go into there. Because like, there's so many different ways that you can look at it. And I know where you're coming from. And if there was this is just a man's gym, there could be a very good chance of like a bit of an uproar or people turn their noses up against it or maybe bad publicity. But
so if I answer that question,
go ahead.
So you just have like a Zumba-esque class or it's a PT class. Usually they're all women, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you could say, my name is Jocelyn and I really want to help women after giving pregnancy to get their bodies back, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to do a women-only PT class, and it's going to be at JD Gym, at Pure Gym, at this, where in that studio, for this session, from this to this, it's just women. Props to you girls.
Yeah.
But then you don't need your whole new gym, where I don't know, I just feel like it's a bad idea. And then it puts I mean, for the record, I love women, right? I recognise the Omega sex, but I'm not like, oh, women are all bad, screw them. Good for them, man. They've put up with centuries full of our shit. You know what I'm saying? So the way
I feel like we need to disclose that you're not misogynistic, first of all. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like, that is just how it is right now. So it used to be men are here, women are here. It's now this with women and men. But I just think, why can't we get as close to there as possible? There's always going to be a slight divide because we are biologically different, you know? And I just think, if anything, as a man, you just need to recognise this and you need to step up your game. I need to identify what's good, what's bad for you. Like Bruce Lee said, all the good that you like, take it, the rest discard it that isn't helpful, you know? So like, me personally, I like using Instagram as a social media, but I don't use anything else because I can keep in touch with people who I've got friends from abroad and all this kind of stuff, and I like to just archive, you know, me having a good time. But I don't live and breathe on that, you know, and I don't use any dating apps because I think it's a really, really bad idea. You know, I feel like you just need to, as you said, that safe space where when you go to the pub, when you go to the gym, doesn't matter if you're a politician or a plumber. No one cares. Everyone's chill. And that's called the third space, isn't it? You got your workspace. Not do this too much. You got your workspace, your home, and then your social where no one judges anyone.
Yeah. Because you're all there for the same purpose, essentially. That's what it is.
I was just going to ask, so do you think that when... so when you... Obviously, as you've got older... and your relationships, and you can figure out more who you are as a person, and you are seeing like certain women who go down like the OnlyFans route, or certain women who do have certain like privileges. Do you sort of maybe look at that in yourself and like kind of, you can then like kind of pick and choose as a man who you want to be with, and you can use that as kind of like a strength because you know what kind of woman that you want to be with, if that makes sense, because it's like there are good girls out there. Do you know what I mean? There are girls who really are just like, I do understand it because there are like a lot of women out there who find the easy route of doing like OnlyFans and going down that, but is that just like a social construct for them? Like in terms of they've had no other option, so mentally they just feel like, oh, I've got to do this as well. I kind of feel like sometimes you can take a step back from that and,
No, I know what you're saying.
I feel like, sorry,
are you trying to basically say, like, there's good women in the world, but there seems to maybe be a lot of attention that goes onto the, I don't want to make it sound bad, but like the negative... like outlook of what women are, so like the OnlyFans and stuff like that, that men have kind of just forgot about. There are good women. Like I've got a girlfriend and she is fucking amazing. Like she is, and she's so loving, so caring and all that. And I know that she will never be an OnlyFans girl and stuff like that because she's just genuine. She's just a genuine girl.
Can I clarify? I mean, I've dated OnlyFans girls.
I thought you were going to say my girlfriend then.
No, definitely not. I've seen all of her leaks. No, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Why? What does it matter? Go for it, girl. If you want to use that, why would you not make a bit of money? Or if you like to be body positive and show a bit, for all the props to you. I have no problem with anyone in the sex industry that wants to be in there because they enjoy sex or they want to, props to them. That is not a bad girl to me, not at all.
That's fair enough.
I mean,
well, it's ballsy to do without the pun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've dated multiple ones. It doesn't bother me. Why would it? You know, at the end of the day, you should trust them. Like I said, they don't need to complete me. I already know who I am, and they're just gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna give them a good time. You know, and. Yeah, it is a very, very interesting thing because I've used to be in a relationship with a girl where she would say that porn was horrendous. Yeah. And then my housemate says that porn is the most feminist industry because women make the most money and all this. Obviously, this is a soundbite, so I'm not going to go too much into context. But like, so the whole thing of porn and stuff, I just think like it's a very difficult topic and subject, but if someone wants to go in there, they can. But then she would say, my ex, it shames women and it forces men to look at women as like catalogs, objects. Yeah. But then does not OnlyFans force women to look at men as walking ATMs? You can argue that as well. So it depends how you want to look at it, but I just think there's plenty of good out there and there's no easy answer to any of these questions. That's why we're having a lovely chat about it, because it's difficult.
Like you said, there is no answer to it whatsoever, because we could have a whole different group of people in here and talk about the same topic, but have a completely different outcome. It is just, of course, how you look at it. But how can I say it? I feel like women and I don't want to sound like a dick or whatever saying it, I feel like women nowadays are superior.
Yeah, they are.
They are. I'm trying to make sure that I wear things carefully because I know people can clip shit.
It's all right, we'll edit it, guys. It's fine.
Yeah, but obviously women are superior. So I seen this thing the other day, and do you know what the word chauvinism means?
Rings a bell, but
yeah. So chauvinism is one gender trying to be more superior than the other. So there was no way then people go around, and it's mainly America where they do, and they go around to different people and they'll ask them these questions and they'll try and catch them out. So he was saying about, do you know what chauvinism is? What was it? It was, who's the prize in the relationship? And he said the woman. And he said, okay, so who's the prize in a gay relationship? If there's two women, he said both of them are. So why is the woman a prize in a heterosexual relationship, but a man can't be if he's in a gay relationship? And they were like, oh yeah, that's a good question. And he went, do you know what chauvinism is? And he was like, no. He went, it's when one gender wants to be more superior than the other. So he said, so why is it when men want to be superior, it's chauvinism, but when women want to be superior, it's feminism? And all the people were like, oh my God, yeah, like that, I've never thought about it like that. Mm-hmm. So do you reckon that with stuff like that, feminism's now going to... And if a girl wants to go and sell nudes online, by all means, go and do it. I'm not asked. You go and do it. If you want to make money like that, you do that.
Sell pictures of your feet.
Yeah.
No one's going to know them unless you've got tattoos saying I am Tracy or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. Yeah.
That went to one of my mentors in school. That she was called Tracy. She was like 50 and a hippie. Yeah. I've had another brain fart again where I was going with that. Yeah.
Can I tangent? Yeah.
Yeah, just do it. If I have brain farts, I'll have more than just them two.
What do you value most in life?
Value most in life?
Mm-hmm.
Money, listen. Relationships, like with family and friends and stuff like that.
Get specific.
So relationships with mum, with my dad, with my friends, like that, with my girlfriends, in terms of like activities.
Yeah. If you had to value an activity, if you had to put in a sentence, specific sentence, what do you value the most? Is it going on a joyride with them? Is it getting a takeaway? What is it?
It probably sounds like really boring, but like probably just sitting and having a good takeaway because you're most relaxed, having got some good food, you're watching something that you're really enjoying, and it's just you two, or your family, or your friends, just all in that safe space, and you all want to be there together, and you're just enjoying a good time. I like all little moments like that.
It is, isn't it? It's the little things.
Yeah.
I got asked that question last week on a date, and I was like, oh. And then my answer is spending time with my dad talking about films. That's it.
Is that because what you've grew up on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and when you have a discussion with him and you get down to it and you get immersed, it's wonderful. Like, because we've had that relationship all the way through. Now, if you want to add a bit of like, eccentricities, is it in Jamaica on the beach? Is it with all, lovely food and that? Yeah, cool. But me personally, just a pint, just having a chat with my dad about films. Now, I can talk about all of the stuff as well, but if you want about what would you, if you had to, it would be that. And that's where I'm at odds because he's going to die one day.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, what am I going to value the most then? But it's good that I kind of found it and I was like, well, that's one.
Because then when that comes,
what am I going to do?
You're going to value that even more every time you have them moments, and you're going to really take in every second that you can.
To the point where, like, he doesn't know this, and it's a bit cringy, but I don't care. Because he lives in Wolverhampton, where I'm from, unfortunately, and I don't see him very often.
Yeah.
He never comes to visit me. I've lived in Liverpool about 2 years now, and he hasn't visited me once. It's complicated, but yeah. So when I'll have a discussion with him at the pub, I'll just put my phone, I'll put a voice memo on, and I'll put it in my pocket because I struggle with loneliness quite a bit. So then, like, when I'm thinking about him or he's not there, I'll just listen back and play. It's pretty sad, but it makes me feel good. So I'm like,
It's not sad then if it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Because that's your way of finding happiness. And it's not like you're doing anything wrong.
Yeah,
you're just recording a conversation of you and your dad. And you just listen. Because, like, the day when your dad passes, You could have a big bundle of voice notes, and people would you can just sit there and just listen to them and listen to it and just reminisce the good times.
Yeah, man.
So I don't think it's sad. I think it's quite clever, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a bit sly, but I'm a Slyde, so.
But I am a Slyde. His name's Josh Slyde, FYI. Yeah, but I don't think it's even Slyde, because there could be a day where you say it to your dad, or he might get sick, you might get sick, or something like that, and you go, by the way, I've got all these, and you both can then sit there and listen to them, and then it's like a podcast. You can sit back and look and go, oh my god, we sound like dickheads talking about that. So I don't think it's sly or it's sad. I reckon that's actually quite cool and really thoughtful, to be honest.
Thank you.
You're very welcome with that.
Yeah, it's mad. And obviously, because I have that little, like, writing bug, you know, and I was listening, I can definitely bring this topic up in a scene, or I'll put that, and it could be just a line of questioning or a tangent or a very small thing, and I sometimes put it to, like, a bit of characters dialogue or something, and it amuses me, because when I read it back, no one knows this, and it would be like there was one bit he said, make sure you watch Porky's film with Kim Cattrall. She gets a kit off. Thank me later, son. And I was like, oh, I thought, yeah, I'm putting that as a character saying it. That was pretty funny.
Because essentially, like what you're saying, you could make that into a play.
Yeah.
Like, you actually could do that, and you could do a whole play and use exactly what you have said. And like you said, then no one could really know about it. But that whole thing could be your pride and joy for your life. That could be like the number one thing for you, because you made a play about you and your dad. And you could sit there and just watch that back all the time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's super cool. And then, like, I sometimes do it in big moments, like when I met my mum for the first time in like 11 years. Yeah. Like, I voice memoed that and then listened back, and I was like, oh, that's nice, that.
You've never voice memoed those, have you?
Yeah. Let me think. No, I have not.
I was going to say, I want to hear it now. Yeah.
No, but that was something. I remember the first time I met her, like, in 11 years, like, I didn't even recognise her voice. That was the weirdest thing.
Really?
Like, it was literally like her voice had been stolen, and then another woman's voice had been put in her voice box. That was really bizarre.
How did you find out, like, and adapt to that one?
I just give it 10, 20 minutes. And then there were certain cadences, certain rhythms. Yeah. It was really, really bizarre. But now we're really close again, so that's nice. Yeah,
because we spoke on a couple of times about, like, you meeting up and stuff like that, and, like, it was a big thing for you, wasn't it? A big thing. Do
you mind me asking how you got back in touch with John?
It's actually a book. When I was in a bit of a shit time, I got this book called Recovery by Russell Brand, and it's all about addiction. And I didn't have addiction at the time, but I just thought, this sounds interesting. And I was reading the book, and I was like, wow, this is good, this. And there's one chapter, it's like the 12 steps of recovery, and one chapter is step 9. And 9 is all about making amends. And it's like, you make a list of who the people that you've hurt or have hurt you, and reasons why, and then you go and say, this is part of my therapy. I just wanted to talk, wanted to make amends and that. And obviously I didn't say that. There were other alternative options. And Terry Crews is one of my heroes. And I was watching a podcast with him, and he was on about how when he was young, his first memory of his dad is him beating the shit out of his mum. And for years he would do that, and he hated his dad, and then eventually he forgave him, and his dad just broke down in tears. But he says it was the best healing he's ever done. And that resonated so much with me. And I was like, wow, I need to do this. But I didn't have the balls at the time. So it took me another 1.5 years until I was ready, because I had such resentment for her abandoning me. And yeah, and I look back and I was like, you know, and then all these are the little things, the friendships that have gone sour or whatever, because I can be a very stubborn person. And then I took it on. I was like, wow, I need to do this. I need to do it. Now, my brother never lost contact with her, but I did. So, and I didn't want to speak to her, and I wanted nothing to do with her. And she never really reached out, and she never came to see me or anything. And then I said, right, Dan, can you sort this out? I'm going to meet her. I'm going to meet her here. That's it. And he did. And I went and met her. And I thought I was going to break down in tears within the first 3 minutes, but I didn't. And I just said, look, I forgive you. Because the biggest thing was, when you hold a grudge, you're only keeping yourself a prisoner. Because you're hurting yourself more than them. They might not think of it and all that. And the release that I had off, the weight off my shoulders, oh my goodness, it was unbelievable. Like, and that was last December. So it was this January that I connected with her. But last December, I was in a really, really dark place where I was thinking about self-harming like every day. So I took some time off of work to just get myself better. But I didn't just want to lie on the couch, and I wanted to think, right, how can I get better? And I took the time, and I thought, right, what is it? Maybe it's my personal life. Maybe I'm holding things back and it's weighing me down and stuff. And through going through about 3 or 4 people, I was like, guys, like, I need to make this amend, because last year my mate died of a motorcycle accident, and I was like, life is so fucking short. I just want to see you and let you know that it's cool, man. We're cool. Let's move on. And since then, I'm literally like a different person. Like, people at work will say, you do seem a lot light. I'm like, yeah, because I've put the work in, man. And I'm here to stay, and I want to just help people, you know, because you helping others helps yourself, you know. And really yeah, so that's the answer.
Do you mind me asking, like, how did your mum handle you getting back in touch with her after like 11 years? Lots
of crying, lots of holding my hand and saying, I'm so glad you made this decision. Yeah, now we're like really close. Like, I speak to her twice a week, and yeah, it's nice. Run about going to Dracula's Castle next year together.
So, Dracula's Castle?
Like Dracula's Castle in Transylvania.
I feel like I've just said Dracula's Council.
Yeah.
Council estate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wait, you actually went to it?
No, we're organising.
Oh, you're organising it?
Yeah. So I really want to go there. I think that'd be nice, like a nice little trip and stuff. Because like, I'm not even making up like for past time and stuff. I'm just making up for now, of who we are now. And
do you feel like you're at a stage where you're like past any anger?
Oh yeah.
You're not really like hurt. You just want to build that bond of a relationship. Do you feel like you're at like a mature point of your life where
big time
you've got nothing to lose but a lot to gain? Because at the minute, it sounded like that was impacting your day-to-day life.
Oh yeah.
But like unconsciously. But then the more you dive into the self-healing side to it, you realise the one thing that you are missing is your mum. And maybe that's brought you to like a more of a complete person.
Yeah.
And do you feel like it had a positive impact on you since you've done it?
Yeah, and I feel like people need to learn this skill of looking inside yourself and being honest and asking those questions. And they're hard and it ain't easy. But if you just say, no, but why am I upset? What am I holding on to? What's going on? And maybe it's this, maybe that. And you just spend some time alone in a room or on a walk and just figure it out. And you will literally transform yourself if you just do that. And it's works wonders for me. Because I had like an ungodly rage when I was young, and I always will. But I've learned how to control it. I refer to it as like the werewolf, you know? Like when it comes out, like people are going to get hurt. And I first learned how to control that through martial arts, which is why I'm so passionate about teaching it to people, because it can give them such life skills which people take for granted. I remember my ex, like, she was gorgeous. Well, she still is. She's still here, but, you know. And she would walk down the street. She was only a little girl, like about 5 foot, you know. And she would have men walk up to her and saying, I love your hair. I wonder what it looks like with my cum in it. And horrible stuff like that. So to the point where, like, when she wasn't with me and when she was walking to meet me, she'd have such anxiety about that stuff. And I just thought, man, if only I could teach women to just feel confident in their own bodies through martial arts, where if someone comes at them, they can defend themselves. And it's a main reason why I really want kids, because I'd love to, like, from the grassroots up, build like and I've always really wanted, like, kids anyway, and ideally a son and a daughter, but it's disgusting, I'm ashamed of so many people in our gender, like, some of the things that men do, men are wonderful, but they're also monsters. Women are too, but it's just messed up, man. So yeah, I just want to help people in that regard. And when I learnt martial arts, it humbles you. You get fit, and you get such self-confidence, because like, you can look after yourself and you're looking good, and you feel good doing all these skills. So, like, when I do, like, staff sessions or sessions outside of work with, anyone, I just feel good, man.
Because, like, I've noticed I've said like quite a lot in this, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, of course.
So when you're talking about your rage and that, and you got into martial arts and object control, so someone's watching this now, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I need that, or that's something I could do. How long, because obviously everyone will be different, but how long did it take you to kind of keep a lid on it, in the sense, and know that you can control it after you started martial arts?
Every winner is a loser that didn't give up. And if you want to get good at martial arts, you are going to get your arse handed to you on a weekly basis. And as soon as you get comfortable with that, you're fine, because you're humbled, and then you'll get good. And those people that were winning rounds, beating you, you start beating them. And then you feel good, and then you realise, I got this now. And there's no point throwing your toys out the pram if you're going to lose a round or get dropped or get took down or submitted. It's part of it.
Yeah, so say if you was a teacher in martial arts, you had your own, what's it, dojo? You had your own dojo. What could you do to prevent someone from taking learning martial arts too far? So, like, in, like, films like Never Back Down, where the one lad who was picked on, he learned how to fight, and then he went around battering people because he could. Yeah. What could you do to prevent that?
There's always going to be arseholes. Yeah. There's some of them. But I just feel like if you keep them in check... So, like, when Conor McGregor first... I read John Kavanagh's book, and when Conor McGregor first went to the gym, a lot of people don't know this, man. There was a female fighter called Aisling Daly, right? Or have it's Irish name. Yeah. And they were sparring, and Conor battered her. He had her on the ground, and he was ground and pounding her and beating the piss out of her. So John stepped in and sparred with Conor and just submitted him and handed his arse to him. And he said, that's not on, ra-ta-ta. So there's always going to be those people out there, but if you humble them, and if you have a competitive dojo, if you got one student who's head and shoulders above everyone, well, then that's a problem, isn't it? Because if they're a prick and they're going to go and do that, well, then you got a problem. But if you can recruit good members and keep them all, roughly, and there's a couple of there, and there's a couple and keep it like that, then you can do the best you can. And for someone to do that to someone, I think you put them in the most uncomfortable positions first. So I'm going to have you in a fully synced in rear naked choke, and when I apply pressure, you're going to try and escape. Yeah. And if you can't do it the first time, you'll do it the 50th time. So start in the most uncomfortable positions, the worst case scenario, and when you're comfortable in that, what are you scared of, man? Because you've already done that, And I learned that through listening to John Danho, who's another one of my heroes. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master from New Zealand, and he had a leg injury, and then he just thought, right, I'm going to teach the best leg lock system the world's ever seen. I'm going to take everyone else's legs. And he's revolutionised the sport and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
To say, because have you ever come across people like that? That's what I also want to touch on. Yeah. Like,
I've got a funny story about this.
Go on, go into it, because I was going to say, like, what have they ever done, or what have you seen them do, kind of thing.
If he's listening now, I'll call him out. When I went to my first judo club in Codsall in Wolverhampton, I was going for a while, and then there was this kid called Joel Bodison, right? And he was a bit of a bully, and he came down, and he was a strong kid. I was a strong kid, yeah. And every December we had like a tournament within the dojo, and then you'd have the police come in and they'd offer like our gold medals from the Staffordshire Police or whatever. And his girlfriend showed up for this tournament, and I had him in the final. Thought, I'm gonna deck you, lad. Watch.
Sounds like something off Cobra Kai.
Yeah, right. So he's there, and obviously with judo, if those who don't know, judo is basically grappling. Think of like the traditional kimono gis. So you got to throw them on the back. If they land hard on their back, the match is over. It's called ippon. If they land on their side or whatever, you can keep going and you can apply a stranglehold or a submission or a joint lock on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of technical ways to throw someone in judo. He was strong, so we didn't know them. So what he did was he grabbed both of your collars and tried to swing you around. I thought, okay, you can try and swing me around. I'm not going to lose my balance. So then I took him down. And I got him in a kesgatami, which is a horrible position to be in. So it's basically like I wrap my arm around the back of your head, get your arm, and then I just lift my bum 3 inches off the ground, and all of my weight is on the centre of your chest. And then I'm pulling your head up, so I'm folding you like a piece of toothpaste coming out the tube. And his girlfriend was there in the audience watching this, and he's going wraggling like that, and I just squeezed him as hard as I could. His face is bright red. And I was like, this is how you sort of bully out.
Yeah.
And after that, he respected me. And we got rid of the beef. And it was done. But then a couple of years later, when puberty kicks in at high school, he thought he was the big bad. And I was like, Joel, don't be going down that route. And I didn't want to make an example out of him because I was still doing judo all the time, and he stopped, he quit. But I always remember that. And that's how you sort of bully out. Hold them down against their will and apply a submission. Not a little knockout, make them suffer like they make others suffer, and they'll soon find out how miserable it is, and they'll respect. Now, nowadays, I think there'd be a lot of, oh, I'm going to get me mates. We're all going to try and batter you outside of school. And
yeah, I was going to say,
I've got a knife and shit.
Lot,
it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But in the dojo, it's not changed. It's not changed.
Because that's like you're saying about like the scallies and that. And obviously they'll go round and they'll jump people in the gang, and whether it's one lad, they haven't got that skill, have they, to be able to take someone on by themselves. So obviously they have to hunt, essentially, in a pack to be able to do that. And that's the only way that they're able to humiliate them. But how come you never, I don't know if we've ever actually spoke about this, but how come you've never actually took your MMA further? Because obviously you're a big lad, you're passionate about it, you're good at it. But I know, like what you're saying about like your acting and your MMA and stuff like that, but I feel like you've got more skill and talent in your MMA than what you did probably in your acting. And obviously the way that like the UFCs took off and Bellator and Cage Warriors, how come that wasn't like, do you know what, I'm good at this.
Because I'd have to make it a full time, and I'd have to quit work, and I'd have to do that every day. And then I don't have the funds to do that because our job's stressful. Yeah. To do that on top. Now, obviously, before this, I was confronted with this conundrum. And I just chose acting, and then I fell in love with coaching when I started teaching. And I just thought, maybe it's not for me. I'd like to go down that route, and I'm still going to look to get my black belt, and I'm still going to compete in a few Thai fights. I was training for a Thai fight in Manchester when I lived there, and then COVID hit. So...
Can I just ask, like, would you say your MMA training is like your biggest release for just like the anxiety, the anger, the frustration, or like, do you know what I mean? Is MMA your biggest release?
Yeah. You're asking better questions than me. Some of them I'm like, fucking go out there, Joe, lad.
Lock me in a full submission and I'm calm. Whether it's a joint lock or a choke or whatever, because I'm so used to it. So then you think that's a really intense situation. But because I'm so used to it, I've become calm. So yeah, it is a really good tool for your anxiety and that. And I just feel like lads need it, man. Like, there's so many times I just want to let people play fight and let them go at it. Because I feel like as a kid I did, and I needed it. And without it, I'd have blooming killed people.
Yeah, so like we were saying just then, it's completely the way it is now. Because back then, that if we saw kids
Health and safety.
Like, having like a little scrap or whatever kind of thing, or they were just play fighting, your first reaction nowadays is to stop them.
Yeah.
But obviously, if they are just play fighting, then that might be their way of releasing whatever it is, a bit of stress. Man's going to the gym and going to play footy.
Yeah.
But it's still physical. I've still got to get like a certain level of like aggression in there to be able to go and do it. And that's how us men, we let it out.
Everyone needs a good punch in the face. Everyone. Once a month, you need to be checked. You need to know that, this ain't okay, man. Or don't come over here because I'm gonna sort you out.
Yeah.
And they need to know that, and that's the way I was brought up. And I just feel like that again, masculinity. You need to be strong because life is shit. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's war. There's poverty. There's this. So you need to be strong. So you're going to be doing martial arts, and I don't care if you're crying. I don't care if you're doing this. You got to get to an orange belt before you can quit. But I'm going to at least give you the skills so you can defend yourself on the street or if anything. Now, obviously, if someone has a knife, you just run away. Don't be daft. But if it's hand to hand, you can defend yourself,
Because I always do wish like martial arts was something I got into. Because obviously, lads from Liverpool, everyone played footy. That's the route I went down.
Well, all you have to do is message me for sessions. We had 2 sessions, then I haven't heard of you.
Oh, like that's my thing actually. I'm so bad at just stopping unless I proper love it. I'll just go, I can't be bothered. Like I'll just stop.
And you're cracking the pads. Like, let me know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like everyone needs it, and there's so many little nuanced skills. Like when I teach women, I always go to grappling because not because I'm a pervert. I am a pervert, but that's not why. But when you're looking at like looking after people and teaching self-defense. One of the worst fears for a woman is being raped. So I'm going to go straight to grappling situations where if they're on top of you and they're holding your throat, I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself. I'm going to teach you how to get out of that situation and to get to there, a life skill. I'm not just going to say do 300 sit-ups, thanks, go home. I'm going to give them some confidence in uncomfortable situations. Then I'm going to, because we all love hitting, so I'm going to teach you how to throw a jab or hit the pads and just do some stuff, And they need that. Like people... Like, martial arts should be part of every school's curriculum in the world. It should. Because you need it, like... And I believe every week at school you should be doing PE 3 or 4 times a week, if not every day. Because your kids, you're full of energy, right? And you need to get that out your system. It's sensory, it's great for building friendships, teamwork. If you want to be in a business management or whatever, you need to do that kind of stuff. You need to be good in teamwork. And I also believe that meetings shouldn't be, yes, this is what we're doing. Tick, thank you very much, go home. You should be walking. Yeah. Go on a walk. It's so much calmer. Like, I know walking is so good for humans. Like, think of when a kid's dysregulated, just take them on a walk. Calms them down, fresh air, bit of sensory in that. So why can't we do job interviews while we're going for a walk? Why is it got to be all corporal and all that? Because you're going to know more about me when we're having a walk and we're chilling and we're relaxed. And like I said, I'm not a product, I'm a person. So then you can get to the nitty gritty, whereas they're just looking at a checklist.
Yeah, because they're trying to hire products, aren't they? They're trying to hire a number. Yeah. And I completely agree what you're saying, that we need to be able to move more. And if you was in charge, and this goes to all of you, if someone's got an answer over there, if you could extend the school day, or even if we were in school, because we're all around the same age, if we could extend the school day by an hour and a half to make sure that we got PE every day, or to make sure that kids nowadays get that every day, would you do it, or do you feel like that's too much for a child?
No, I believe that's enough. And even you got the ones who don't like PE. Well, do you know what you're doing then? You're going to do some stretching, you can do some yoga, but you've got to get physical. Yeah. Because we're not America, thank God. You look at the obesity there, but it's a huge problem. And what is what everyone tells you, every therapist for your mental health? Exercise and speak to people. Yeah. It's a fucking exercise. Yeah. That's it. We need to exercise more, and it could be just going on a walk. Right, we're doing a daily 5 mile. If you don't want to do that and you're cool.
Would you do like a daily 5 mile run?
You could do.
Get running, lad.
Yeah. With a bear crawl.
Yeah. Do you think it's like exercise is like a confidence builder in terms of like young people? The more that they do exercise, they can develop their own. They know what they're capable of. So if you'd never get into like any kind of physical sport, or if you'd never do try MMA, do you know what I mean? People aren't aware of like what they're capable of doing. So it's kind of like the discipline. They're just not. Because I feel like because we are similar ages, we've grew up without social media as well.
Yeah.
And now with social media, it's kind of like everyone wants the cheat code. Or everyone's trying to do it the easy way.
Yeah.
So if you go down a harder route, but you learn more, and you become more confident, you become more disciplined, does that make you into that like more solid person because you know who you are, you know what you're capable of?
Yeah, because
do you think that
where you were saying before, like at the start of that, about like would that make you more confident if you keep doing something? Picture going back to school and the best footy player. Like they know they're good at footy because they play for the team, they go out and play every other night, they're constantly doing it. If you went to martial arts as a kid, you know what you're capable of doing because you're doing it all the time. But then also if you want to link it to going to the gym, like for myself, I spoke about on the last podcast, was that going there made myself more confident in who I am because I knew what my strengths were, but also my weaknesses. Yeah. So I was able to figure myself out and know, oh no, I'm actually shit at that, but I know I'm good at that. So if I need to go to that, I'm good at it. If I need to go to that, I can work on it. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say that.
And you got to be brave, man. Nothing to, like, if you're scared about going in the gym and you got a bit of imposter syndrome and all that, would you know why that is? Because you weren't doing PE and when you were young. Like, if you do that, I reckon you'd have far less imposter syndrome when a woman goes to the gym and she's not sure how these machines work and she feels like she's stupid. And I've had mates that are like that and they're as big as us. And like, I was like, well, if we get that in the curriculum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd love it if all schools could have like gyms. It doesn't have to be anything like really that's going to damage the young bodies and all that, because I'm sure it's 16 where you can actually start properly trying to move weight, because obviously your body's more developed, but they do need that. And think of it in 10, 15, 20 years down the line now, what's the obesity going to be like in the UK? Because we are just a small America. That's always what we are. So we could have like an obese child and 1 in 3, maybe 1 in 4 or 1 in 2. Like we're going on down a bad path in that sense. And like grassroots footy, we grew up and we always saw footy on the weekend. That saw like a big dip for a few years where no kids was able to go out and play football. No kids really going to want to go and fight because it doesn't get promoted enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think COVID had a big impact on that? So do you think, obviously, half that generation, they all stayed in the home for like 2-3 years? 2 years. Because school wasn't there, they weren't allowed to go out. It was just video games, social media. Like, do you think that that's going to have an impact down the line?
Yeah, I think it will, because kids that like that, the two set in the ways probably because it was quite a period of time, and it's probably an important age for some of them as well, because you even hear it like where people go, oh yeah, I've got a dog but it was a COVID puppy, and the dog's got no social skills because it was born during COVID. But if you've got one dog,
that's mad, you know.
Yeah,
Jesus,
you've got one dog and it's in the house, it was going to be in the house anyway, but because it was born during COVID and it didn't interact with other people, it's got no social skills, it doesn't know how to really act, it's scared.
You're giving a dog agoraphobia.
Yeah, so when it comes to kids and they're learning about themselves, and they could be going through the difficult stages of like puberty or something like that, where they are finding more about themselves and their emotions more all over the place, so that could then set them off in a bit of a negative path as well.
To piggyback on this as well, I think dance should be so much more ingrained, because like I think we've all been there, you know, when you go to a club and you see a beautiful girl and you're like, I just want to dance, but I feel like I look like a dick. I don't know how to dance, you know, and I just feel like, you're about confidence building. Well, dance is great exercise, it's really fun. And then if you're confident, think how much that's going to help you with dating, with in general having fun. You know, I look at some of the kids that sometimes are in dance classes and they're fully going for it, Michael Jackson, and I'm like, man, I'm envious. I wish I could be like you right now and just go for it without worrying about everyone judging, saying, oh, look at so he looks like an absolute tit.
Because you notice that a lot of people that are most self-aware about themselves and self-confidence in themselves is all something to do that's linked to some type of physical movement. Dance, MMA, football, going to the gym. I'm a walker, instruments, I'm a runner. It's all like kind of like spiritually in that sense, where you are finding out who you are in that.
And I think like like when if I link it to martial arts with grappling and everything like that, because you're touching each other so much, it's good. So people aren't as aware. You got a good healthy touch. You know, so when you see each other, how you do, mate, and all that, you're not like. So it's the whole world is bizarre, and I wish we could all change it, but it ain't going to happen. But you can do that with your kids, and you can do that with your friends and all that. So because people rub off on you, man. Like I remember when I was with my ex, she had an eating disorder, and it was that bad where she couldn't leave the house without fear of defecating or being sick. So we never had a date, and I was with her 6 years. You know what I mean? So it was tough, but even little things like she'd never go anywhere without taking toilet roll with her. Now, I do that when I go on nights out sometimes, but only because the lads' toilets are bloody grim. And I've been that many toilets where I need an absolute steamer, but I've got no bog roll. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if I have a bit with me, I'm all right, like, so...
Well, what happens if you've only got a little tissue left? Like, just one little piece, what happens there then?
Well,
just clench.
You take your boxers off, and they're going to have to go.
What?
Or, or you
what
find...
goes first, your socks or your boxies?
I'd go boxers, unless they're, like, designer,
Like next.
Or you just find a dock leaf.
Dock leaf?
Last month, I was outside a church. I had to go.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Do you want that in the video?
I don't know. if I have a sin or a karma, that's why, innit? Okay. It wasn't the middle of the day. It was late at night, just for reference.
I don't think the reference is going to help you just from that.
I had a bog roll.
Oh my god! I reckon we touched up a lot about MMA there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you've got anything more to say into it, or
within MMA?
Yeah.
So, like, where do you teach women MMA?
I teach men and women.
Oh, do you? So it's not women only?
No. No, I'm not that guy.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask, but I never got a chance to ask it before. So, going back to the grappling and learning women how to grapple. So, say, for instance, a woman can't afford to do lessons or whatever. She doesn't have time. She's got a newborn, whatever it is. If you could describe, because this might help someone, just even one person, how to get out of maybe a choke or whatever, how would you do that?
If someone is on top of you, sitting on top of your pelvis here, and they've got their hands on your throat, you got to isolate both wrists, because otherwise they can just move their arms. But even better, you can get their elbows. So as you're being pinned down now, and the hands on your throat, I would literally grab over both wrists like that, and then use your elbows to collapse their elbows. That's one technique. Or you can just grab both wrists, and then on both techniques, you're going to buck your hips up and roll them to the side. Because if I'm on top of you now and you're going to try and roll me there, if I've got a hand free, I'll just stop the roll. I'll just stop the roll. But if I've got no hands free, I'm going to fall. So then all of a sudden, the position is reversed. And because they've got leverage, when they're there, they've got far less leverage there. And then as soon as they're on their back, when you've rolled them over, you can just knee them in the bollocks or gouge their eyes and then run away. Yeah.
Does strength play a part in that still, or because obviously you might come up against...
It's more mechanics, because like if they've got no hands, they can't stop themselves from falling, and most of your weight and that is in your pelvis, and women tend to have more weight downstairs anyway because of biology. So then if you can just use that and then you can roll them over, you should be fine. I mean, I don't care how big you are, that technique will work. Yeah.
Just fair enough.
Now, not every technique works for everything. There's always an anomaly and an outlier. That's just the reality of life, you know. You can teach someone to be the best boxer, and then Francis Ngannou comes in and makes you look silly, you know. It's the way it is. So it's like with any sport. Like if you've got like Eddie Hall, but you've got a jiu-jitsu master, but they're like a little girl, and the jiu-jitsu master is a little girl. Well, Eddie Hall's like 150 kilos. It's not really going to matter because he can just crumple you to nothing. But it takes you a good 85% of the way if you know your techniques, because it's more about mechanics than anything, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. I just wanted to get that on there for records so people might know. But you talked about Ngannou.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts last night? We have to talk about it.
Now, I was pretty pissed, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. But I was watching it and I was just like, this is absurd. Now, I knew Ngannou was going to do well, but theoretically I thought Ngannou was going to be carried 5 rounds and then be pieced up with a TKO. But Fury didn't show up. Fury probably had a brain fart, or I don't know, had diarrhea, or just, you know, we all have things, don't we? And when you've got to compete on that date and with all that, he was just off. And the reality is, it doesn't matter how the round goes, whether he looked better in that round or not, you've got to do a strict criteria. So I think Fury won on points, but he definitely lost the fight. Yeah. No one cares about points. Just because I haven't landed as much and you've done a bit of this, who gives a fuck?
So technically, he won a boxing fight, but he
if
never won the fight.
If you're in the playground and Nganou's won.
Yeah, because when I saw that Fury won last night, I was like, what? No.
Yeah.
You having a laugh? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously, you're more experienced with the boxing world. Derek's more experienced with the boxing world and stuff like that. Well, the fighting world, sorry.
I mean, I think round 8, he was landing heavy shots to Tyson and he was taking them. So, that, you know, it's not a 10-8, but it sort of is. The way they judge it is just ludicrous. I mean, if he dropped, it's instantly a 10-8. So he's already won 2 rounds. That was round 3. But yeah, I just thought it was an absolute circus. It was embarrassing. Yeah, it's a shame. I just think Fury didn't show up. And that's what people don't realise, man. Yes, that was an exhibition fight in case he drops a bollock in it. But you've risked so much of your legacy. Everyone's going to look at you now and think... Yeah, all right, Tyson.
Do you reckon he did like risk his legacy though? Because at the end of the day, he's fighting Ngannou, who did want to become a boxer, and like Ngannou fighting anyone, he's gonna give you a run.
And that's what I'm saying. But the way I like, imagine you got a kid. He's an 8-year-old kid, and he's going to compete with you now in bench press.
Yeah,
and he completely smashes you in bench press. Your ego's going to be bruised, and everyone's going to remember you as that. Well, that's what it's like when everyone is watching you when you put on a fight like that, and they've really milked it. Like, my God, it must have been... I was in the pub for about 2 hours before it started. And then you've got them saying, oh, well, he's got longer fingers than him, and he's got a better punch on him and all that, and let's go to the opening ceremony. And I'm like, just get lost.
Yeah.
Show me a fight.
It was long, to be fair. Yeah, because you were talking about the 8-year-old kid then, I've got a thing. You should probably heard of the question before, but... If you had to fight Mike Tyson at age 1 to 18, okay, so you can choose.
Prime Tyson?
So it's just his age, so 1-year-old Mike Tyson all the way up to 18-year-old Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Every age that you go up, you get a grand for winning the fight. So if you beat a 1-year-old, you get grand, 10 grand, 18 grand. But obviously, if you pick 4 and take the easy money, you've beat up a 4-year-old. But if you pick 11 and you get battered, you've been battered by an 11-year-old. But put it into perspective that Mike Tyson at 9 years old went to a gym and knocked out a 30-year-old man.
Wow.
Yeah. So what would you say for that?
18.
Would you go just straight up?
Yeah,
18?
just go when he was at his peak and hopefully just hope for the best and get a payday. Just close my eyes. If you've done it about 10 seconds, get on the ground.
Yeah.
Couple of milk.
Because even 18 grand isn't that much money.
No, it's not that much money, to be fair.
So why would I do 4 or 5 or 10 grand when I could potentially get knocked out by a you know, and I'd want to test myself. I'd say, come on then, let's see what you got. Oh, he's got a lot. Oh, I'm dead. Yeah. Oh, well. Everyone knows my name.
I'd just take the 1 grand, you know.
Would you?
I'd just take the 1 grand.
And what would you spend it on?
I don't know, try and learn how to play.
Lawyers to get rid of that.
Yeah. Just see the 1-year-old Mike, someone just... Where's your money?
Yeah, he came out the womb like this, didn't he?
Oh, he did. What would you say, Derek?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'd fight him when he was 18, challenge myself, and see how far I go. Definitely.
You're brave, you know. I know I'm being a shitbag and just bouncing up, but you're brave for that, you know.
You could just put your hand on his head and just hold him back.
Yeah. So we were talking about money. 18 grand's not a lot. But before you came on, we were talking about...
Let's go.
We were talking about Brewster's Millions.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So... Give the rundown for people that don't know what Brewster's Millions is.
Right. Brewster's Millions is an excellent film. Okay, you've got Richard Pryor and John Candy. Mm-hmm. So Richard Pryor, one day gets said, "Look, here's what's going to happen." His great granddad says, "When I was a young kid, I smoked a cigar and my dad found out, and then he locked me in the closet and made me smoke the entire pack of cigars until I was sick of it. So now I'm going to do the same to you, but with money. And you're going to be so sick of spending money, you never wish you had any. So 30 days, you've got to spend $30 million.
Yeah.
And if you do this, you have an inheritance, the real inheritance of 300 million. But no one gave me any help when I was smoking. So you're not going to get any help. And basically, you can't tell anyone that why you're spending so much, and you can't own anything. So I can't just buy a Ferrari. You've got to return at the end of the 30 days at midnight with nothing but the clothes on your back. Nothing. So how are you going to do it? And you can't tell anyone. You can't be buying your bird loads of diamond rings. You can't just throw money away for any reason. It has to have a purpose. So I couldn't just say... And he says you can put 10% on a charity, that's it.
I was going to say, that was my question.
Yeah.
Could you actually do a charity?
Yeah.
Because it's a purpose, but not giving away.
You can put 10% on a charity. That is it.
Yeah.
And how are you going to go about it? Now, I thought about this deeper. Now, when you watch the film, it obviously comes up with some really good ideas, and you think, oh, what would I spend it on and stuff? But what they're really asking is, what do you value?
Yeah.
What do you value the most where if you got all this money, you'd buy? It's like, ooh, interesting. Because you can't own it. You can only rent it and stuff. So in the film, he rents a hotel. And he rents the top floor, and then he gets his mates in, and he'll hire some bodyguards or whatever. But you can buy them a couple of clothes and stuff, but you can only spend so much. And when you think about it, $1 million
A day.
a day is a lot of money. Because by the time you come out with all these answers, what are you going to do? So my question is to you, what would you spend it on?
Oh, shit. We were talking about it before. Have you thought about it? Like, because I can't think, I really can't think of what I would actually put it
You were
on.
saying about the rent in the hotel, I thought you were going to say something like, oh yeah, you just hired out the whole hotel and just filled it with like homeless people or something. Like that would, do you know what I mean?
But then
You
it
do
wouldn't
like a
cost anything to fill the homeless people, and then you've still got 29 more days. You know what I mean?
I feel like this is honestly like a trick question that there's no, because what does he
What
use?
it comes down, you got to watch the film. What it comes down to is what you value in it.
Yeah.
Because you think like, what I would do, I would hire out an entire hotel. I would hire my own personal chef. I would hire my own personal masseuse. So, and then I would get like the Rock's like gym, and I'd say, right, you're bringing the gym there, and we're going to work out there. So I've got my bases covered, haven't I? Now I want to jazz up my room a bit, so I'm going to hire out sheets that are like the best of that and everything. And then I'd hire out a whole entourage. So I'd hire someone to do me books.
Yeah.
I'd hire like a bodyguard, but I wouldn't just go any bodyguard. I'd have Francis Ngannou as my bodyguard.
Yeah.
And then I'd have Gordon Ramsay as my chef. And I'd want some entertainment, so maybe I'd hire a couple of singers there. And yeah, and I'd think of it like that. And then you just got to think of when that you've got your base covered, right? But then all of that, let's be generous. Let's say that's 2 million because it's only 30 days. So let's say that's 2 million. You still got 28 million. I would get me all of my entourage the best clothes and all of that, and they're going to say, "Why are you spending all this money?" And you can't tell them why.
Yeah.
So you're like, "Fuck, how are you going to go about that problem?" Because you got someone monitoring all your books.
Well, okay. A 3-day or like a 5 or a 7-day festival.
Yeah.
I set it all up.
Yeah.
Pay all the DJs to come.
Yeah.
It's like I've been to Tomorrowland, so I'd love to do that. Or do my own events or whatever long it is.
Of course you can.
Buy all the merch, all the hats, tops, stuff, places where people can sleep.
Yeah.
But none of it's mine because after 7 days it's all going anyway.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah.
Yes! I'm happy with that.
I'd hire my own zoo. So in the basement, I'd have a tiger. I'd have
Pablo Escobar
yeah,
style.
yeah. I'd have it all there.
Put those into
Yeah, and next to the basement, I'd have a shooting range, and I'd say, you know, get me everything you want, and I'm just going to go at it. And then I'd hire a building next door to the hotel, and I'd put on all of my dream MMA fights. So I'd be like, "You're coming out of retirement. Here's 3 million. Shut your mouth and come here and fight." So I would get like, I don't know, Francis Ngannou and John Jones, they're fighting tonight.
Yeah.
And then I'm hiring all of the celebs that I want, and I'm going to do that. But like you, we can only do one night or a 2-day thing, and then you still got the rest. But I think that could put a big dent.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I'd rent suits, I'd rent jewelry, everything. But it's a very interesting question. Like, what do you value, you know? Because there's no point going all the way to the other end of the world, because that's not going to do much of a dent in your money at all, is it?
Yeah.
You may as well find a base and invest for 30 days.
Yeah. Because, like, when you were talking about before, like, what do you value the most? At a time when I was always going to festivals, I think I valued that the most at the time, because I was always with my mates and I was really into my music then. And there's a festival coming, all right, let's go. Oh, do you want to go to Barcelona because there's a festival? Yeah, let's go. So that was always like my drive to make sure that I'm doing all these events. Yeah. So back in the day, I feel like I would have done that. Right now, no idea. Just, can you spend £1 million a day on Chinese food for me right now?
Well, that's why I thought with the tigers, because they'd need a lot of feeding. Yeah. So then you could get like elite quality meat for them, stuff like that, and a lot of it. And then you got to feed them. So I think that might be a good.
Would you not make like a bit of a training camp? Would you do something like
man.
Start at your own MMA school?
But I don't want to get too battered, because that's why I got my masseuse. Because obviously he's still going to be out and about it for the next 29 days.
Could you like hire out like a restaurant or something with all the people?
You can hire anything out you want.
Hire anything out, and then you could go around. So say for you could go around feeling like homeless people. Yeah. Like, I'm just giving out free food. I'm nice and considerate like that. Yeah.
You could maybe pay people to give it out. And he does tips. He goes, right, taxi driver, you're going to be my escort, my chauffeur for the week. I was 10 grand a week sound, something like that. But even then, they're like, oh my God. But it's nothing, is it? You've still got another 990 grand to spend that day.
Yeah, because here's the link between this topic and the next topic. Joe, know when we were talking about, was it ChatGPT? Is that what it's called?
ChatGPT, the AI.
The AI thing. If you asked ChatGPT in that question, what you just asked about Brewster's Millions, what do you reckon it would come up as?
I don't know.
Ways to spend money without owning anything. Should we ask him?
Yeah.
Go on, we'll carry on.
So go on. So I know you want to talk about AI, so while Joe gets that up, because it'd be interesting to see if anything does come up. AI. Just take me away with why it always intrigues you so much.
Okay. So, robots, Terminators, everyone thinks it's going to be like that. We've already got a bit of AI right now with Siri and Alexa and stuff, yeah? So, I forget the name of him, but there was a guy that predicted by 2050, men are going to be marrying robots.
Okay.
So if you look at Japan, they product every single part of a relationship because they don't want to get in a relationship, and there's a real population crisis that's happening there. So they don't want to get in relationships, so they've got cuddle cafes, they've got sex robots, all these kinds of things where they're just substituting everything in order to that. But when you think of like, we could really do with AI, like think of disabled people, think how much that would help them. So I'm interested to see where that goes. Like you've got that, and you've got like heavily people that need a lot of care homes, people if you need your shopping, all that kind of stuff. They have a place. I think when people mention AI, two things come to mind: fembots and Terminators, and it ain't all about that. You know what I mean? But I think that's definitely a part of it, and it's good that we're wary. You know, you even got drones and shit. I know it's not AI, but it's still, you wouldn't surprise you, you know, going into the future about that. But I just think the whole idea, the topic is fascinating, because when it looks real, people think, oh, there's a huge stigma, but there was a huge stigma about online dating in the early noughties. People are, there's a place in the Wirral, right, where they've got sex robots, and you can just go and just shag them.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen it on a BBC documentary, where like they're just like lying down, all done up and stuff. And they've even sorted out the heating inside of them, so when you touch them, they feel more human.
Yeah.
And that's in the Wirral.
Does that actually like get business?
It must do, because it was on a documentary.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just go there and it's literally like having sex with a corpse because they don't move or anything yet. But in the next 20, 30 years, they're looking at moving around.
Oh my God, that's one of the most disturbing things I've heard of. And the fact it's like so close to us.
Yeah.
We're not in the world to disclaim that.
So the idea that being that they're on about getting like wardrobes and that's where they're going to live. So you're just going to put them in the wardrobe. After work, I've come back, I've missed you, come on. You know what I mean? It's a really eerie thought, but people have sex toys and stuff.
Yeah.
So you can go, it's a real blurry line. Like, I think in some ways it can't be that bad, but in other ways it can. It's like once the genie's out the bottle, what are you going to do with it, you know?
Yeah.
And I just find the whole idea fascinating when you watch like the AI movies and stuff where how they can... Because I honestly think in 50, 60 years, Alexa is going to walk around your house and she's going to play all the music and stuff and ask questions like this. What's she got?
So,
did it actually give you an answer?
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I asked ChatGPT, pretend you need to spend 30 million in a month, but you can't own anything. How do you spend this money? And the answer was, here are some exciting ways to spend 30 million in a month. Renting private islands for extravagant events.
Never thought of that, man.
You kind of touched on the events. Funding high adrenaline adventures. Supporting unique artist or scientific endeavours.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Luxury races. You can't say about
Yeah.
fight, but luxury races between supercars and stuff. And maybe drivers. That'd be really interesting. Space tourism.
Jesus.
ChatGPT's on it here, isn't it? Hosting top tier global events with renowned performers and cutting edge technology.
Yeah.
See, even we can't think of
Like,
that.
have you seen the globe in Vegas? Have you not seen
I
that?
think so.
Yeah, the sphere.
Yeah, the sphere. I've seen that. It's crazy.
It's insane.
Why would
Cost them like 2.3 billion to make, and it's a massive sphere that's in the middle of the city. And basically, they're going to show events on there, so you could watch a film on it. And Dana White really wants to go there and put UFC on in there. And the whole idea is it was made for like live performance to take it to like the next level. And there's you just watch it. It's
Think
mad.
of literally like a golf ball. You'd be in the middle of the golf ball, and the whole screen around it is like.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's like, isn't
on the
it?
interior and exterior. Yeah. Yeah. So the entire...
How do people think of these things?
Yeah. 2.3 billion. It
makes me feel stupid, you know, when I don't think of stuff. Which it does.
Space tourism? Would you ever go into space?
No.
I don't know.
I'd rather go bottom of the ocean.
I was going to say, would you rather go into the ocean or go into space? But then, obviously, what happened with that money in a few months back?
The ocean terrifies me.
Yeah.
Me and my brother talk about this sometimes and we just laugh like... There ain't nothing scarier than the ocean, man.
Because we know more about space than the ocean, don't we? And we understand, it's probably more now, but it was always the statement of we only know 5% what's in the ocean.
Yeah.
Is Megalodon real? Is the Megalodon real, boys? Is the
Giant
Megalodon...
squids freak me out, man.
Yeah.
Like, you look at an alien, that's an alien. Like, if I just... took you away from social media and films and media and you never seen any squids of that and I've shown you that, you're like, that is an alien.
Can I just say as well, there's a new Planet Earth that's just come on Netflix and they were literally having this conversation. So you were talking about how squid and octopuses look like they're from out of this world. But is his name Brian Cox? The one who does the
Isn't he the science guy?
Yeah, well I think it's with him.
Yeah.
And he's saying squids are like very, very, very similar to humans because their biology isn't alien. It's very similar to what we actually have on Earth because they were talking about, do you reckon it could have come from like a bacteria from outer space that's come and like rocks hit this Earth and it's grown and evolution. Evolution over time. So they were saying, do you reckon the squid could be like an alien? But they were saying there's so many comparisons. We're basically like 80% octopus. I was like, wow, that's blew me head.
I feel like with these limbs, I am like 80% octopus. I'm not gonna lie, they just go on forever.
I watched an autopsy of a giant squid, and the brain is literally like this.
Really?
Their stomach goes to their brain like a ring donut. That's their brain. It's insane.
I found like sea life really weird and like how like their biology and all that is, and it's just absolutely mad.
If you had to be eaten alive by any animal,
Eaten alive?
yeah.
Blue whale.
Blue whale.
Yeah, just straight down. I'm getting it. There's no chewing. And they said that if you go into a ball, if you curl up into a ball, there's less chance of like getting shredded apart. So you could still be shut out.
Do you want to go back onto the AI conversation?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So where do you think in the future AI could benefit society?
You're talking about the disability, ain't you?
Disability, self-care, like, and care homes, because I feel like that'd be really good for it. And there's a whole thing, I don't know if you heard of Replica. You heard of Replica?
Mm-mm.
So it's another chatbot, but it's from this Russian woman, and her partner passed away, and she wanted to...
I've seen this, and you can basically... So what you were talking about with the voice notes with your dad, you could... I know it's a bit depressing, but obviously down the line in the future, you could turn a voice note into an AI software of your dad and speak to your dad like he's still here.
Yeah.
What?
That was why she created Replica.
Yeah.
And there are the people that have got so attached to these chatbots where they want to marry them. And again, this is the incels, man. This is the men that have, no social skills with, who they want to, procreate with or just have sex with. And they're just virgins that are 50, 60-year-old and all of that. And then they're going to buy these robots and stuff. I mean, obviously the robots aren't that well advanced and developed yet, but people have been spending like 20 grand on like a robot from Japan, got it to their house and like, oh, shit, this is the best relationship I've ever had. Yeah. And like, it's fucking weird.
Because when you talking about like the crisis of masculinity earlier
and that's part of
AI
it.
is going to cause more of that then, isn't it? It's going to push us further and further and further down the road of men aren't going to be able to get a real woman because they don't want it.
It is, yeah. It's part of it. But I think it's also, this is the fembots idea where if a bloke could create the perfect woman, straight away he's going to go to visual and aesthetics. Whereas if a woman could create the perfect man, she would go on personality, on skills, maybe an instrument, whatever. And for the longest time we've wanted to do this. Look at Frankenstein with Mary Shelley. That's what that's about. Well, now if you've got a robot where I can have the biggest bust or the longest legs or like the most beautiful face. I mean, think about it. You could literally have, I've got a crush on Scarlett Johansson. Well, I'm going to make a fembot to look like Scarlett Johansson and she's going to... It's bloody weird, isn't it? But we're not that far away from it. And then how long until you marry Scarlett Johansson as a fembot because your ex-girlfriend broke up with you? And, and is it going to be normal where... You go around someone's house. I mean, there was a guy on Good Morning with Holly Willoughby and thingy, and the guy from The Wirral, actually. And he was like, this is Samantha, our robot. And I feel her, she's warm. Yeah, she helps with the kids, cleaning up and stuff like that. And when the kids go to bed, I take her upstairs and have sex with them. And they're like, but what do you think about that? And again, it's crazy, isn't it?
I find it crazy that I find it crazy that that's people's norm.
Yeah,
that's what blows my mind. Like that's normal. Like I can't imagine that in the smallest sense of how I could bring that into my life.
Yeah,
like I know it's completely because I've got a girlfriend,
but you've also probably got Siri or Alexa in your life. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Yeah. So like, how long until that's there?
I was just gonna add on to that and say there's a new AI software where like celebrities, let's just say for example, I think I've seen something like Kim Kardashian's doing something where she's like an AI app and it's her face and she talks to her fans. Like it's like you can talk to like I don't know who your favourite celebrity is. It's an actor or
Eva Green for me.
Yeah, or who's the fellow who runs Gymshark?
Ben Francis.
Yeah.
So imagine having Ben Francis as an AI model on your phone that could give you business tips and information on how he's done it. I think that's so clever.
It is.
Imagine having a one-to-one personal business tutor and you can pay for Ben Ben's like ideas.
Yeah.
To attach onto that, you're saying how can they help? I think therapy, you know, because if you've got an AI as a therapy that knows all these things, I think that could be really, really helpful in terms of like CBT and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, I'd say the three would be disability, you know, therapy kind of stuff, and then like care homes would be probably the most popular ones.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'd have like the loneliness, the girlfriends, and all that stuff. But it's fascinating, like because I was writing one of my short stories recently, and I was fascinated with this idea, and I made the AI like basically a house in one. So like I had like, I don't know, her back would be like a washing up machine, so you could just put your clothes off, put it in. You'd have like a front would be like an air fryer. And then you'd have like her legs would be like speakers and all this. And then there's this film that I watched which was really good.
You're gonna get the podcast cancelled straight away.
It was it's have you ever seen Gattaca?
As in the place in Liverpool,
No,
yeah.
it's a science fiction film, early 2000s. I think it's 97 actually, and it's like a dystopian future, and they basically use these hoovers, and a hoover would collect skin cells and instantly identify who they belong to. And it was like, so if you'd killed someone, I'd know straight away because your skin cells were at the scene or whatever. And I thought, well, if you had a hoover that would do that within an AI, and I just thought that was all really cool. So I just come up with a cool little story from that. But it's mental when you think about it, like making every single bit have a function, because that's what machines are. Well, if you put all of that into a silhouette, so you don't need a washing machine, you don't need an air fryer, you've got all that. You don't need a hoover, which does it for you. It's mad, you know. Like
AI terrifies me, you know. Like it excites me because what could happen, but the way everything that humans have brought in the world to make the world a better place or function better, we've gone about it the wrong way. Social medias, phones, guns were brought in to start ending wars, and it's made it worse. We can't use technology better.
It's about war, isn't it? It's always about the dark shit.
Yeah.
That's how the bomb came, the nuclear bomb. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you'd applied all of that to something good, it's just not human nature.
Yeah.
I was just going to add on, do you think like the whole AI and like deep fake, have you seen deep fake? So it's kind of like, you can go and
Could I get another water?
Yeah, go ahead, pass. Yeah.
So,
what's deep fake?
I was just going to say, so...
Top bud.
So, for example, you could have Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
And a deep fake video would be
a
video
saw
of him
these, yeah.
saying, "Oh, in the next hour, I'm gonna send a nuke to the UK." But he never said that.
That's vile.
So it's kind of like propaganda in terms of like they could, for example, with all Palestine and Gaza and all that kind of stuff, they could literally construct a fake AI bomb going off and report that as real news, and then all of a sudden, it's like a gaslighting.
Yeah.
And it's like a new way of propaganda, which that kind of scares me a little bit.
It all scares me.
Yeah, because deepfake's been around for a little bit already, hasn't it? Because I've seen like Tom Cruise ones, and like he was just talking normally, but like people going, "Oh, no, that's actually not a real video." Tom Cruise, you're like, "Fuck off, it is." There's, no, it's not. It's AI. You're like, "What? That's AI." Like,
what is it about when you see a film, right, and you can instantly tell it's CG, but it looks real?
Yeah.
So like if I'm from 1746 and you've put me in a time machine and I'm watching Avatar, blue people exist.
Yeah.
But they don't. So what is it about our brain that instantly recognises that's the uncanny valley? That doesn't exist. Because when you actually try and articulate it, you can't.
I think that's where AI is a little bit scary, because it looks so real. It's coming from somebody who doesn't look alien. This is somebody like a politician or somebody. Imagine like Boris Johnson, and he done like a video. He's saying, "Oh, how we're going into attack Russia or some China." But it never happened. But imagine if you saw a video and that went viral. That could be quite like.
And people are inherently stupid, so that stuff you will fall for it. You know, people fall for catfishing. I fell for it. It's one of the worst dates I've ever had. Fortunately, I got out of there. You know what I mean? But like,
what was his name?
A whale. Oh, but it's just mad when you like. There's so much to it, and you just think, well, we put up with this every day. I read somewhere where I think we're bombarded with more advertisements a day than people like in 1920 were in a year. With on your phone, on the billboards, on YouTube, on that's insane. No wonder we're like mentally clogged when you're saying you're having brain farts.
Yeah.
No wonder.
My brain farts are just a normal thing. I think mine's just hereditary.
So what is that we just forget to say something?
Yeah, so when I went to therapy, they said that if it comes to the point where like I get put on the spot or I need to try and basically direct the conversation if I want to put into our terms, I can literally have a brain fart but I can't think or speak. And
Does that make you anxious?
Yeah, big time. Proper big time. This is where AI could come in and like, you know, just like go over that little cliff for me and just steer the direction. But
I've never noticed it with you because you've. I mean, I know you quite well, and like you're very. I know you say that I'm a social butterfly, but I think you are as well. Like you're really good with conversation. You can talk to anyone the way I view it. You know, of what I've seen, and obviously that's what I'm saying about who are you. Well, we each show a side of ourselves that we probably, you know, don't know the rest of what's going on because that's just humans, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm proper bad for brain farts.
It's why, like, you and your girlfriend know each other better than most people will ever know you because you show more sides of yourself.
Yeah, and she's seen out to me that a lot of people probably haven't. So
yeah,
I think probably.
But I had a bit of that when well, the main reason my anxiety and stuff resurfaced was so when I was at work, the one day I had I hurt my knee and I thought, oh God, I'm going to get knees like my dad. And my dad's got really, really bad knees. And he's had them for years, and I always like try my best to look after him, but he just can't have it. He can still walk, but he's just in always constant pain. Like basically, he's got like no cartilage on his knees. There's like a little slither on both, and he's in constant pain. So then I'm like, oh God, I don't want it to be like that. What am I going to do in martial arts, this and that? And then I was having an anxiety attack, and I was in class, and no one could notice. And I thought, I'm just going to get up. And as I go to get up and I go to open the door, I just collapse. And like, that's the first time it's ever happened. But like, I did it like really controlled, like I was doing like a Rick Astley dance, like all the way to the floor. And the two members of staff come over and helped me at the time, but apparently I was white as a sheet. And then since then, I didn't realise at the time, but I had PTSD bad from that because at the end of the day we had Twilight.
I remember you talking to me about this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I only discovered it from literally taking time off work and asking those difficult questions, looking inside yourself and saying, what's going on? And I just couldn't find it for weeks and months. And then one day, that's it. I had it, and I was at the light bulb moment. I was like, I've got PTSD. What am I worried about? I'm worried about fainting in front of peers because I feel helpless and it hurts my ego. You know, bloody ego, go away. You know, and that was it. And then since then, I can understand my triggers more. And when I get a bit anxious, even not anxious, just like emotional, or it could be like happy, I feel it in my eyeballs, not my face, my eyeballs. So like my eyes get a bit weird. I was like, and for a while I thought it's because you're having anxiety attack, but I was like, no, that's just how I am with my body. Yeah. And I found this out through when we do zones of regulation, because where are you feeling the sadness? Well, we all feel it in different areas of our body, emotions, it's normal, but we were never brought up to understand our emotions, you know. Yeah, that's why it's just hard to talk about things as a man, and most of the generations can't. So then they lash out, or they top themselves. It's bleak, but it's got a lot of truth behind it. You know?
Yeah, because that's what we're built on. We're built on emotions. We're built on anger. We're built on sadness. We're built on happiness. It makes us who we are, how we act, how we behave, what we're like around other people, how we interact with other people, why we go out, why we don't go out, why we go and do this sport, why we left that sport. Everything's built on our emotions. Yeah. And that's it. And there's a lot of work that doesn't go into it. Because, like, obviously, we've all went to, like, mainstream schools, because obviously we work in special needs. But we were never taught anything like that. No. You just got taught, oh, he's a naughty kid, or he's a dickhead, wow, he's angry, and why, you're depressed, you. There's stuff like that, but no one ever understood emotions and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of parents don't talk to us about our emotions, and not because they're fault, but they also had it worse in that sense. So,
and linking to that, like I noticed, I self-analyse. I don't self-analyse too much because that's not a good idea, but I've noticed where I'm an emotional spender. So when I'm really happy, I'll just spend and spend because I want to like keep feeling happy. But then when I'm really sad, I'll spend because I want to feel happy. So I'm fucked either way. So like I just try and stick to my baseline. And I've found that because like this year I got into a bit of debt, and I was like, well, it's your own fault because of this. And then now that I know it, I can put these coping mechanisms in place on how to kind of keep the lid on that. But again, it's because I was never learned in school to how to understand and identify emotions and where they come from in the body. And then everyone's like, oh, I've got money, I'm just gonna, you know, they're like disposable incomes, like happy tokens. I heard this the other day and I was like, that's a really good analogy. It is, isn't it? Because everyone wants more money, but if you can't spend it because all you're doing is working, then why do you want the money?
Yeah, because I was, when I say to my girlfriend, because obviously everything that I want to do at the minute, I don't essentially need money to be happy at the minute. So I always say to her, as long as all the bills paid, we've got food on the table, petrol in my car, my gym membership, I can go and do what I want to do, I'm happy. Like, I don't need to go and buy clothes, don't need to go and buy new games, I don't need to go for fancy meals or get takeaways, don't need anything like that. And I'm coming really more and more content with not having a lot of money, kind of thing. Because obviously our job doesn't pay too.
Yeah, but the space is awesome, man. It looks really good. Like what you've done, it's good, man.
Paying for it, like to say the least.
Yeah, but that's it. You got to invest. Like it's reaping what you sow, isn't it? Nothing good comes easy. If it does, there's something wrong. You know, it's
like this took 10 months to take off in terms of from when the first piece of wood went down.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying, like, you know, it's going to be so good for you with you saying about your brain farts and your conversations. Like, that's the art of conversation is a muscle, man. Like,
we were talking about that on the phone.
Like, it just is. And having a professional conversation and reading people and all that, I mean, it's mental, but it's coming together well. I'm excited to see where it goes. A couple of months, you'll have your own little Joe Rogan intro, won't you?
I do need a jingle. So if you know anyone that can do jingles.
Oh, I don't. No idea.
Jack, we've covered everything. Or is there anything else that you want to talk about? Or have you got any questions? Just whoever before, because if not, then we can wrap up. I think we've been here for about 2 hours.
No, fine.
It's the longest one so far.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to ask, like, how did you get into your MMA? How did you, like, how old was you? Who, like, was there a certain person that you idolised, that you kind of got you into it? Where did your MMA journey start?
I've always just liked combat, and then I just thought it was just fun, you know, being a kid. You're like, oh, you know, and my mum found in the newspaper when I was about 10 an advertisement for judo, the newspaper, and she was like, I'm going to take him. I was like, all right. And I went there and I just loved it and I was like, this is awesome, man. And I just sticked at it through that. And then I remember my first UFC I watched, I must have been 13, and it was Brock Lesnar versus Frank Mir 2, UFC 100. And we're like, oh my God. And my dad's like, no, it's too violent. I said, leave it on, please. And then me, my brother, and my dad are watching it, and he's just there, like, battering him into the fence. And I was like, oh, I could do that. I love this, yeah. And then when I was about 16, I stopped doing judo for a bit because it was getting a bit much, but like, I was still really enjoying it and I was getting really good. But I was just like, you know, when you just paired with someone that you just, like, he was this Indian guy who didn't speak much English, and he was like a little bit older than me, but he was really strong. And he was a lower belt than me, but because he was really strong and I was strong, he was always putting him with me, and he absolutely stunk. Like, he never washed his gear or anything, and I was always being paired with him. I was like, I don't want to, and I'd say it, and so I just quit because of that, because I was just miserable. And then obviously I had exams and GCSEs, and I've never been very good at maths, so I had to like go to a tuition outside of school to knuckle down on that. And then I went and did some Muay Thai, found out what that was through a family friend, loved it. And then I did Muay Thai and Judo, and then I obviously got more into MMA, watching UFC, Bellator, Pride, Strikeforce, and I just loved it, and I just pursued it down there. I thought, oh, I'm going to try and do this. And then I remember my granddad sitting me down one day and it's like, you're not going to make it. You won't be good enough, and being all this and that. And I know he was trying to help, but at the time, you know, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, fuck you, I'm going to... And but yeah, then I ultimately, then all of a sudden, my mum left.
Yeah.
And then I was like, we've gone through that. And then it's like, okay, I found the acting, that really helped. And because that helped so much, I just stuck with that for a while. I was still doing it, but not as much. And then they sort of balanced out. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go to uni now. Because my dad said, when you're 20, you're moving out, end of story. So I was like, okay. So I moved out when I was 20, went to uni, fell in love. And then we went through that road, and then it didn't happen. But it was the best thing that happened to me. Like, that's why I think with moving through relationships and stuff, I'm so grateful for that. Like, I was with her 6 years. We had a couple miscarriages. You know, I was a month away from proposing. We were going to go London because her granddad had died the December before of COVID. So then we were going to move into his place in Romford. I thought it was going to be really nice. We were going. And then we were in together through lockdown through the whole time. And, you know, you were saying about how it's changed, like, people, how it's impacted. Like, that was, like, a really hard time because my girlfriend had to be everything. She had to be, like, the best chef, the best person to talk to, biggest UFC fan, sex goddess, got to do that's impossible to put on a person. That's why you have friends and stuff, but when you can't see anyone, and it filtered out, and it, like, we were fighting a lot, and it was just a rough time, but I'm grateful for it because I've learned so much from it. Yeah. And yeah, that's what lockdown does to people, where, you know, I'm fortunate that I wasn't 11 or I was at school and I've not seen any of my mates and stuff, but it just, that was a big deal breaker for me. But then through doing that, I was doing a lot more of my martial arts and stuff. And then that passion rose from there. And then I decided to really teach people.
So that's what I was going to ask. Like, so where, with your MMA coaching or even just personal MMA, where would you say you're at now, and where would you say, like, you kind of want to take it in the future?
So, like, my goal for that in the long term is I want to have my own gym, my own dojo, and raise people from there, as in, like, do the kids classes and then do the adult classes and then just raise a good crop of fighters and stuff. But to get there, I need, obviously, the money. But because I'm going to mainly do it on grappling, that's why, like, when I do my sessions, I have a lot of my own gear because I'm investing for the future. So I've got 3 or 4 judo mats, which I use at home so I can grapple on. I've got a big grappling dummy, which I use to practice on myself, submissions, ground and pound, and all that kind of stuff. And I know then when I eventually have my own dojo, all of them will be used for it. That's why I have quite a few pairs of gloves and things like that. Try and do it a bit on Instagram with a couple of videos, but I'm not the best, but I've tried. I just need to get my money together, and I need to get to a certain level in my skill development, you know, with me martial arts, to then say, right, I'm ready to open up a school, let's go. So I imagine in probably 10 years' time, if I'm honest.
Okay, so if somebody wanted, like, classes off you or any coaching off you, where could they find you?
I've got an Instagram handle, Grizzly MMA Field. And then at the minute I just do it through there, and then I've got my own tripod, so, like, I'll film some of the sessions and then I'll just do it. But because I don't have money to, like, rent out a space, it's hard. So, like, I'll usually either go to their house, or if we've got a field somewhere, depend on the weather, and do that kind of stuff. But it's cool, man. It feels very, like, rogue. Like, I had a comment off someone. I was teaching a north-south choke, and it was in the field, and he went, "I love how raw and gritty this is. You got the wind blowing in a field." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, nice one." So, yeah.
Hey, so because you train multiple disciplines.
Yeah.
So if you could pick one discipline to train for the rest of your life, only one, and be elite at it, what one would you go for?
Jiu-jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-jitsu. I think it's judo is superior in terms of it covers a wider range of, like, fighting ranges, but I've already got that under me now. If I was to tell someone, I would just say judo, but personally I think if you've already got a grappling background, jiu-jitsu is perfect because you've got the submissions. You learn how to defend yourself against, like I said, with women, you know, with like attackers, but it doesn't have any takedowns. Whereas judo has insanely beautiful takedowns that are real dangerous, and it also has ground pins, strangles, and joint locks. Whereas jiu-jitsu only really has submissions and positions, but they are so proficient. You've got to go with it, you know. If you were going to go, I want to strike, Muay Thai all day. It's the most complete striking art form because you've got trips and sweeps where you can throw them to the ground, but you've also got a clinch where you've got knees and elbows and pins. And then you've got obviously striking with your elbows, your knees, your feet and your hands. So ideally you'd probably blend judo and Muay Thai and then sprinkle a bit of jiu-jitsu and then you'll be like an assassin.
Fair enough.
On that note.
Anything more? I felt like you two had like quite a few questions there all banged up and ready to go. Is that it? Right, so do you want me to put your Instagram and all that in the description on this, so if anyone ever sees it, it's easier to find?
Yeah, nice one.
So we'll put it into there. But lad, thanks for coming on. You know,
Thank you, man. It's been fun.
How long have we been going for?
2 hours. Well, this one was... Yeah, let me just turn this off.
Yeah.
2 hours.